out of the testing ground.
This is my favorite track because you can just have so much fun. And the car likes to get loose, and you can just like flick it around. And this is a big sweeping turn, so we're gonna go around this one the whole way sideways. Flick it around, get the car to the
left. It was fun at the end of it. We wrapped up, and he just pointed to me and he said, "You haven't driven yet. I want you to get in there and drive, and I want to get your feedback." And I said, "Great." So I don't know how. I don't know if everyone else went solo or if they had others in the car, but it was just Brian and I got in the car.
Go up the steep thing. Go up the steep thing.
Let's go up the steep thing right here.
Yeah, sure.
Phenomenal. Brian, and he's got a great way about him. He's just a good salt of the earth Michigan guy. Mm-hmm. But he said, "Get in, we're going." So, and David was one of the cameramen. We had a camera crew there the whole time, and I got to know those guys as well. They're really a good group of people and having a ball. So David gets in the back seat. He's got his camera, launched up on his shoulder, and buckle up, guys. Here we go. So Brian is showing me the regen system, and he put it on the strongest of the regen of the 4 settings. But I think the first setting is none. Basically, it feels like an isomobile. So we get pulled to the track. Get to the track, and he said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, someone laid down the, when I mentioned that RJ had us up over 120 miles an hour, one of the guys leaned back with a toothpick in his mouth. It looked like him. He said, "Yeah, I got it up to 129. I thought, we got to break 130. We've got to do it. So he said, "Well, let's do it then." So the first thing we did was we stopped at the drift track. And I said, "Let's do the drift since we're here." And just come around the corner to the northeast corner of the track. And Brian said, "I've never even done this before." And I said, "I'll show you how it's done." RJ showed me yesterday. So I started to take a right-hand turn. He said, "Always go left-hand on the track." And I wanted to say, RJ went the other direction, but I didn't. So we take a left-hand turn, get about halfway through this course, and I put it sideways and fire it right back up and keep going. And with the second lap, did fairly well. I think there's about 12 turns through the course of this thing, large chunky gravel. So and it's deep. So you're sliding, but in drift mode, this thing is just pure fun. Mm-hmm. And so the only problem was with this back and forth, even belted in, the only noise I could really hear was David in the back seat with his camera bouncing from side to side as I'm swinging it around. So I felt badly for him, but he said, "No, I'm good. And so after the drift, we got on the track and Brian said, "Now what do you want to do?" I said, "I want to hit 130. We're already a little bit down the first straight, but he said, "Go for it, just stomp on it." So I hit it. We got up to, I think we hit 122, got to the corner, slowed down, but felt comfortable with it. Came back around the other side. I think maybe got it to 127 or something. Came around one more time, and Brian said, "I want to show you the difference in the suspension." So he said, put it in sport or rally mode. And he said, "Give it side to side, just whip the wheel back and forth as we're going down the straightaway." So I do that, and it feels great, except for David bouncing around the back seat. And when it's in that sport mode, man, there's no body roll, no pitch, nothing. And those tires it was like a slot car on rails. Mm. It wasn't moving awesome, except in the direction I pointed it. No understeer, no oversteer. It just worked. And we had it in lower 8-inch suspension at this point, of course. And then we stopped, and he said, "Punch the button," gave it a second. And he said, "You can do this while you're moving, but soften the suspension up." Said, "Now do that." So now we're doing it with all the body roll. So David now has this 3-dimension movement of bouncing around the back, and he's keeping the camera rolling. And so then we amble on down to the end of the straightaway. And Brian once again said, "What do you want to do?" And he said, 130. And so we're at the head of the straightaway looking down what looks, I think it's about 3,500 feet. We kind of eyeballed it the other night. And he said, back it up into the corner and get a running start. So we back it up, and he said, "Go." And I planted my foot, I call it the exhilarator pedal, not the accelerator. And I just put it to the floor, and this thing it's as though Andre the Giant reached right out of the center of that steering wheel with a big mitt and just pushes you right back into that seat. There's no sense of noise. Again, it's quiet, so people who want that visceral sound of squealing tires and grinding gears and engines revving, you're not going to get it. All you hear is this whir, and I think if I listened hard enough, I could hear my heartbeat.
it's so like capable across so many different surfaces. I mean, from like rock crawling to 115 miles an hour.
But you're pinned into the back of that seat, and it's like a video game from the standpoint you watch that speedometer just clicking away. There's 20, there's 30, 40, 50, 60. I believe it was very, very much believe that was 0 to 60 in 30, and probably real close to 0 to 80 excuse me, not 30, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, and 0 to 80 in 4 seconds. As I think someone alluded to during an earlier video a year ago. So it's up to speed, and we're still climbing. I've still got that hand on my chest pushing me back, and it's still pulling. And I'm watching the speedometer, and it hits 120, 21, 2, 3. Its rate of speed's dropping off, but the corner, the 20-mile-an-hour sign is coming up pretty quickly in the front. I kind of look at Brian, and he said, something to the effect of, I'm not nervous. He said, yeah, I assume you want to get home tonight. And I do too. And hits 130. Confirmation from the back that, captured it, hit the brakes, still able to stop for the left-hand turn to get back to Mount Rivian. And we didn't need the whole straightaway. But it was just a wonderfully composed feeling of acceleration, total control, no torque steer. I mean, you got those 4 motors driving it. There is no torque steer. None that I could discern, even with the all-terrain tires. Lift of the foot. You can one pedal drive this thing really well, especially in that most steep of regeneration. So as soon as before I can even put the brake on, it's already coming to a pretty good. Probably, I'm going to guess 3.5 to 4 or 0.35 or 0.4 G's worth of braking on that regen, maybe even more. My Cadillac ELR only has 0.2 when you lift the foot off the pedal. This thing has some serious regeneration and slowing, and so by the time I get my foot on the brake pedal, it's a very composed stop. And so then now what do you want to do? Mount Rivian. So we take the left-hand turn. We're ambling over the buried culvert pipes and over a couple of other things. And we've already done the side hill down at the far end, I believe, just having a ball. So anyway, climb up the boulder field, get to the top, look at the engagement center. He said, okay, just take it forward. And you're going forward, and it's like a roller coaster again. And all of a sudden the nose drops, and you're looking at the dirt and say goodbye to the sky above. And just walks its way down the hill just calmly, get to the bottom, said make a U-turn and go back the other direction. Go up the hill and walk it down the boulder field. It just smooth as silk, given it's a boulder field. And no bottoming out, no sense of ever being in any danger of rolling over or tumbling. It just feels stable the entire way. And again, back at the far end on these side hills, after we'd done some of the little loop-de-loos, Brian said, just try it. Just take any side hill, take it off camber, take it around to the left, but on the right side of the hill. I don't think I could have rolled it over if I tried. I'm glad no one laid down that gauntlet. But, I mean, it was wonderfully composed the entire time. And I said, this is like a high-end, a world-class sports car with 15 inches of ground clearance and a bed in it.
Unbelievable.
Just
that's epic.
But that rush of just constant acceleration, 100% of that torque available from the time you punch the exhilarator pedal to the floor, and it's just no shifting, we all know that, but a lot of people have never been in an electric vehicle will just be shocked. When they go to ride it, I think maybe the line should be, hey, if you're thinking boxers or briefs, I would go with Depends. It's a stunning amount of acceleration you get out of that thing, and that's just the one aspect of it.